Hi, this is Jeannie from Metal Dollhouse Rescue. Here I am in my doll room, and I'm excited to talk to you again about something that I think you'll be interested in. I am planning to show you tonight a couple of things. First, how I might photograph a part of a dollhouse, and I do that by request of people that are missing parts or need replacement parts or improved parts. Um, and I want to also show you how to transfer that, like from your phone to get to your laptop. We'll see if we can get that done. I am using my old telephone to record this because I want to use my newer phone, my newer iPhone, which is a little bigger and it's got better features, to actually take the photographs and show you how a couple of things I might do to manipulate those. So let's see how this goes. I'm going to show you a couple of things to watch out for to not do. So, one thing to watch out for is you can see in the top left hand side, first of all, this is a one end of a dollhouse that is missing on one of our group members' houses. And so she's asked me to take pictures, and I am glad to do that for her, and she's been patiently waiting for me to do that. So there's the actual house sitting there. It looks pretty good sitting there. I don't have any reflection or any shadows, maybe a little bit. So it looks pretty good. But when I actually put my camera up there, now I've got my phone up here to take the picture. And now you can see there's a reflection there on the top left-hand side by the window that we're going to want to try to eliminate. The other thing that looks like an issue is over here by my thumb, there's a shadow from my actual phone. See, as I move my phone, that shadow moves. So we're going to try to eliminate as much reflection and shadow as we can. So I am going to readjust. So I have adjusted my light a little bit in my phone. Now, at this point, you are seeing the reflection here on the camera that I'm filming. But if you look over here, okay, let's see, how am I going to show you that? Over here to where my phone is, you can see that from my phone angle, there is no longer any reflection. And I've also been able to eliminate the shadow from my own phone. So this, it looks pretty well, lighting-wise, ready to go. Now, the other thing that you want to do is I always talk about trying to take your picture as square as possible. And you can tell if you're doing that on your phone or not by whether this margin over here is about the same at the top as it is on the bottom. And as on this left-hand side too, is that margin about the same? If it is, that picture is about as square as you can be. Also, if you can have the line here at the bottom as square to the bottom of your phone as you can, that makes a nice square picture too. So I think this looks pretty good. I am going to go ahead and snap this picture. Now I usually will take a couple of pictures because, you know, one could be blurry or I don't know what, something unexpected. My finger could be in the way. That happens a lot when I take pictures. So I'm going to take 3 or 4 pictures and then I'll pick out the best one when I get ready to do something with this. Now when I actually print this, I'm going to have to print the top separate from the bottom because this is too big to fit on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. This is a end wall and it's fairly good sized. So I will have to actually print that in 2 different pictures. You can see Grandma's down there watching me, keeping a careful eye. I like to have her keep me company. I'm going to see if I can get this squared up and take one more picture. I'm going to try to get the top and the bottom both. You can see I'm having a little trouble. There we go. And I'm going to try to get it nice and square as I can. You can get it square by tilting your camera on the camera in my hand back and forth a little bit, and also left and right a little bit. When I go to the left a little bit, it seems to eliminate that highlight a little bit, that reflection. That doesn't look too bad. It could be a little more square. I'm also going to try to take one here off a little bit. Now, you're going to have to trust me on this. You can't see, but on my phone, this looks like a pretty good picture, so I'm going to snap that one. Now, here's something else that I have done prior to actually starting this video, is I measured every component of this wall. this area from here to the peak, from the peak to the side, from the side down, across the bottom, and then also from the midpoint down, because that will print on one piece of paper, and from the midpoint up. So I printed all of those. Now I like to have that handy when I actually start to manipulate these pictures. So here is the little drawing I made that shows all of those measurements, and I'm going to take a picture of that also. This is just for my use, so when I resize these, I can size it correctly. Oh, I bet you can't see that. All right, well, let me move this camera just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. All right, over here's the little diagram I made. And as I take pictures of those, you're going to see my shadow is going to get in the way for a moment. In fact, my camera will be in the way. But you'll be able to see here on my phone, I'm actually taking those pictures of those diagrams. Then I'll have those available to me when I go to manipulate. All right, I'm going to turn this around and take a picture of the other side. Although this color does not match the house that Mary needs, so she won't actually be getting this because this does not match her house. But Linda in our group has been so kind to provide a copy of her house that does match Linda's. So let me get this set up, but in case somebody else needs this wall, I'm going to go ahead and do a picture of this one too for our records and our files. I'm going to try to square it up and take a picture. All right, see, as luck would have it, I'm actually doing a video with my phone. Let's try again. Set it on photo. That looks nice and square. Now I'm going to take one of these out of proportion, because sometimes when I get them off of the internet or get them from my friends that aren't familiar with how we need to have this done, I'll get a picture that will look more like this. Okay, and I know you can't see that, but let me show you. The picture will be more like this, where the margin will be quite a bit larger at one side than the other. And I'm going to try to show you some ideas on ways that you can manipulate that a little bit to make that a little bit better. There's that one's nice and straight, but I didn't get the top of the picture on that one. With this digital age of pictures, you really can't take too many. They're very easy to delete if you get too many. But let's try to get one where it's off. Let's see. We'll just make it way off so you can see what I'm talking about. Of course, now I want to get it way off, and it's hard to do. Well, we'll make it crooked too. Make it a little crooked. And you can see that it's bigger on one side than the other. Let's see if that'll do it. Okay, let's take a look at these pictures now. The other thing I want to do is I want to show you how to move these from your phone to your laptop, to your computer. So we'll be doing that too, because I know that's kind of puzzling and difficult. All right, let's take a look at these pictures. They're in my gallery. There's the one I took that's off. I even cut off the left-hand side of that. That one I tried to do good, but look at down here, I've got quite a shadow. That one's good, but look at the top's cut off. It's really not too difficult if you want to. You could actually kind of paste that in if you wanted to use that picture. That one, the top's cut off, but it's nice and straight. That one I accidentally did a movie, so I'm going to delete him because I don't think he's very useful to me. There's where I did the pictures of the measurements, and I did 3 or 4 pictures of those, but I'm going to go ahead and delete those because I just don't need that many. All right, now this one I tried to do straight, but you can see up here it's distorted. The measurement there's a little bit to the left. That one's not too bad. It is greater on this side, but I think that whole picture is just off a little bit. See, if I straighten it like that, it looks pretty good. That one's not bad. That one's a little closer up. It's not quite as even here on the left as I'd like it, but again, the picture is kind of just not real straight, for one thing. Those are very similar, so I'm just going to delete like several of those in a row. That was a picture I took. This is a craft I'm working on, so not pertinent to what we're doing here tonight. That one, the top's cut off. Let's get rid of him. That one, the top is there, a little crooked. It's not too bad. I feel like this one's got a little more of the highlight up here on the side. I think we'll delete him. We only need one or two good ones. Really only one good one. That one's kind of nice and straight. No highlighting. But it's very similar to the next one. I feel like this one, alright, I did not do very well on the outside of the house. Here the peaks cut off. The peaks cut off. This one's got the shadow in the corner. This one I cut the left hand side off. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to go ahead and take another one of the outside of the house. We've got it here. I've got the lighting set up. See if I can do a better job. That one looks like it's going to be good, but I think I'll go ahead and get two of them while I'm at it. Go back to gallery. Not bad, but I only need one. That one looks good. That one I cut the left side off. That one's got the shadow. I didn't get a very good example of deliberately having the perspective off. So let me do one more of that, see if I can get that a better one. What happens is, now you're not going to be able to see my camera for a minute. But what happens is people take the picture shot a little high. Let me move my video camera. So they'll get a little high. So they'll get the whole picture in, but now look how far off that left margin and that right margin is, rather than being straight on. That's what I talk about, being straight on. This one's not straight on. I'm going to go ahead and snap this picture so I can show you a couple of ways you can mitigate that if that is the only picture that you have. Let's go back to gallery. There's that one that I just took, not straight on. You can see how much wider this is over here on the left-hand side than on the right. So let's start by trying to mitigate that. Let's say we did not have a good shot. Let's say I took this off the internet or somebody was good enough to send it to me, but it's not quite as straight as I like. I have found on my iPhone, no, it's not an iPhone, but my smartphone, that there's an edit feature that can help with this. And yours may or may not have it. You know, I'm not smart enough. Mine's an Android. I'm not smart enough to tell you if yours will have this or not. You'll just have to look. But I went into edit, and the first thing you can do is you can, turn it left and right a little bit, so you can adjust your picture a little bit. So I don't know, let's say it's straight there. I don't know. But then the other thing is this button here. And it looks like sort of a square with a line through it. It's that one right there. Do you need me to point with something pointier than my thumb? Let's try that, because my thumb gets in the way. This one right here. And this will do two things. So we're going to push it and we'll try both things. First, it will kind of help distort it left to right. So if your picture is a little bit too far left or right, look how that moves that for you. Now I think that looks a little better right there. So we're going to leave it right there. The other one will do the same thing, only up and down. So let's push that button and show you how you can kind of straighten that. Now what it will do is kind of smush your house out. See, if I go that way, it distorts it the other way. But here, it starts to smoosh that out, but it makes this margin over here much better. Eventually, you smush it enough that, see, I'm actually losing a little bit over here off the top corner. But you can see it's much, much straighter than it was. However, it's smushed this way. But we're going to put this on a Word document, and we will be actually able to lengthen that back out again when we get it to a Word document. So even though it's smushed now, we can correct that on Word, and I can show you how to do that too. Let's go back. I'm going to say this is done. And I'm going to go back here to just straighten it out a little bit like that. See, now that really doesn't look too bad of a picture. I've cut off a little bit on the left. But you know, as we print this, you know, we can maybe print it just a little bit wider. You know, that may not be a big deal to have that little bit cut off. So I think we're good. We're going to save this now. So we'll have that. It's just an example of how you can manipulate a picture that you get that's not quite straight. But we will probably use for our purposes this one here. Not that one. That one's not bad. Let's see if we can adjust him just a little bit doing the very same thing. Go to Edit. And I feel like we'd like to get this top margin a little bit left. Now you can see it's going to be a lot easier to do when we have a much straighter picture. So there, I've done the first adjustment. Then I'm going to push this button again, and this will do the one that will smush it just a little bit. Then you just slide this line a little bit. Okay, now we're back on the tilt. Come back here and do the smush. There, see, I've smushed him a little bit the other way in order to try to get that margin here on the left much more even, and the one on the right too is a little more even. So you can see when we're manipulating this how useful that is to have the actual measurements of the original house. So when people send me pictures, a lot of times I'll say, well, that's really nice. Can you send me the measurements that go with that? And it's very much appreciated when they're able to do that for me. Here, we're just going to straighten that out a little bit. So I think that's a little bit better than it was. That's probably the picture we'll use right there. There's the one I cut off on the left. He's not as good. But again, if you were to use that, it's maybe not be a big deal. You can actually elongate this a little bit wider when you print in order to make up for that little bit of 1/4 inch being gone. So my decision is this one better or this one that I've manipulated? That one's the smushed one. I'm making a decision here. I think I'm liking this one. All right, let's show you how to get that over to your laptop, because we're going to do the rest of our work on our laptop. You know, I think I'm going to go ahead and end this video because it's getting kind of long. So in this video we have covered how to take the pictures and how to adjust your lighting, how to minimize the highlighting. You can see, maybe you can't see, there's a little bit of highlighting here. That's really not too bad. I'll bring it close. If I need to retake that, I could try it one more time, but it's really not too bad. You want to minimize that. Sometimes what you can do is we can copy paste a little bit, take from a darker area and put it over there. That might screw up that graphic. But I think we're going to call it quits for this one so the video doesn't get so long. And I think we've covered a couple of important points. Doing the measurements, we got the measurements over here, and adjusting the lighting and adjusting the picture. So next time we'll talk about how to get those over into Word, over to your laptop, and then how you can actually manipulate there. All right, thanks so much for staying with me.